Hey everybody, welcome back to episode number 11 of the Anime Junction Cast. I'm Mark, here with my co-host Brandon.
How's it going, Mark?
Not too bad. It's actually kind of starting to get to that point where I've got to start wearing socks, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's about that time.
Starting to get
Thermal
chilly
sock.
outside.
It is getting cold for sure. Supposed to get colder this week, so
Yeah, I know. I guess it's finally starting to feel like fall or winter for you all. It's supposed to snow tomorrow. Not a lot, but snow a little bit, I think, overnight tonight.
we did get our first snow, which was
Oh, yeah, I did see
I
that.
don't
I forgot to ask
I
you about
don't
it the
like.
other day.
It was fine.
It was
Didn't
like,
collect anything, so nothing stuck. But
like maybe a little bit on the grass and cars before it melted.
yeah, just a little bit,
Enough to
especially
say that
when
it
I came out
snowed.
in the morning. Yeah, enough to say that it snowed. Nothing on the roads. What I meant.
No, fair enough. And that's like, oh wow, it's 4 inches and it's not melting.
Not ready for that.
I already am. I've already driven it a few times, but
I know.
I mean that's
Crazy.
to be fair. Most of that's driving on the mountain or something like that, so it's kind of
Yeah.
expected.
Yeah.
But hey, everybody, welcome back in. Definitely appreciate everybody's support, whether it's here on YouTube and on the audio podcast, because finally fully up to date on all the podcasts. Obviously, if you're listening to us, we're on all the major ones. Obviously, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and a few other ones. Just the main ones we're on. Definitely appreciate those listening there, or if you're here on the video and you want to check out the audio, we definitely appreciate it as well. This week, talking about the Blue Miburo anime, or the Ao no Miburo. If I completely butcher that.
Yeah, I don't know how you say that.
It's kind of like a period piece, samurai-esque story. Because we're about to get to that. In the process of rewatching the first season of Is It Wrong to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon, because I haven't watched it since it aired, and we're already on like season 5. So I was like, okay, I need to start the long process of actually going back and watching this completely so I can be up to date.
It's crazy. It's almost 10 years of airing the anime. Isn't that wild?
Yeah, there was a huge gap between season 1 and 2, I think, and then
Yeah,
it
there,
was a little
there
bit
had
more.
to have been because I didn't know that. I didn't even know there was any more.
And I
So
think
I
season
just
1 aired in
put the
like
years
what,
together. 25th.
2015. Season 2 didn't air
Yeah,
until 2019, and here in
crazy.
2024 we're at season 5. Really good. Realized it's been so long that I was rewatching. Like I remember it, but I don't remember jack anything about the story.
Yeah. Fair enough. I'm actually looking forward to watching some more. So I think we'll probably have to talk about it again.
I don't think we will. Probably
Um,
not like the weekly thing, but I want to completely catch up to it. So I'm like, all right, we both watched all the way up to what's airing now, season 5, and
that'd
then
be
we can
cool.
completely talk about the entirety of it. Or at
Yeah,
least
for sure.
that's the goal. Uh, about a week at this point. I think it was like last Sunday or something like that. But essentially, this past week we had some Katakawa and Sony news drop about them being potentially bought out by Sony. And like always, we're following up on some Daima. Brandon was able to watch another episode of Don that I keep hammering him about.
I'm gonna watch more. I promise. This week we're gonna do it a little different. I'm gonna try to watch, like you said, watch either one a day or maybe two a day, whatever.
I think it helps that way
I
you're
can
not
try to
trying to
do it
like
throughout the week.
do it all at once, say like on a Saturday or Sunday, but kind of spread it out, gives you more time.
Like we
Feels like,
do.
yeah, it feels like a little bit less stressed. It works better in everything in life, even though sometimes we push stuff off for whatever reason. You're like, oh man, I'm kicking myself for actually doing
Well,
this.
then it's Saturday, and I'm like, oh crap, man, trying to get this in, trying to watch this, then don't watch enough,
Yeah,
or
this is like the
whatever.
whole
But
this is like the whole excuse of this podcast is to have a legit reason to go back and force yourself to watch some anime, because if not, you kind of neglect it.
yeah, I know. Yeah, no, it's nice though. I mean, it's nice just to be able to. We've gone back and revisited stuff. We watched new stuff. I mean, it's cool to have that experience, and it's fun for both. It's fun to revisit because you forget stuff. We talked about that briefly yesterday, like how I'm playing Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. Like, there's so much that I forgot, like so many details along the way. And it's such a long running story that like you just forget stuff. So that's the cool thing about anime games, I think, is that it runs through that story again usually. Sometimes it's its own story, but I mean, like Attack on Titan did that with the games, and Sword Art Online sort of does that with some of the games. At least two of them I played sort of does that. So it's nice.
Yeah, pick and choose the game essentially.
Yeah, for sure.
Uh, oh man, there was some. I feel bad because I was about to say something. I now immediately forgot it.
That's
Oh
not
man.
good.
Oh, hopefully I'll remember it. But I mean, I guess going right into it, because I don't know how much you were to watch. I think there's about 7 episodes of the Blue Miburo show out right now. It started airing about mid October. I went through and watched the first 3 episodes, just kind of get a general feel for it. But this show takes place. It's a period samurai piece. It takes place, I believe, in 1863, which is about 5 years before the Meiji Restoration. So if you're not aware of the time period, there's a lot of not a whole lot of upheaval, but there's obviously stuff starting to happen that obviously leads to the Meiji Restoration, the downfall of the shogunate and stuff like that. And the show kind of uses that as a backdrop to tell its story. Because your main character, it's Neo, I believe is his name. He's like an orphan. His sister's an orphan. They were adopted by some old lady that runs a restaurant, so they help out. But the idea of injustice kind of gets to him. That's why he joins this group of essentially Ronin to go out and fight the injustice. But obviously, there's a lot of in the first few episodes, it kind of hints at some political intrigue, some backstabbing, infighting stuff to kind of go on and deal with. Because right before the first episode, the first opening, it has an old man, that trope of, oh, come around, kids, I'm gonna tell you a story about something that happened in my younger days about a a kid with white hair and stuff like that. But it also does it in other stories. Like in the first few episodes, you kind of get some shots of things probably to happen, I would assume, in the first season of stuff that's going to come up, which kind of leaves a little bit of intrigue about what exactly is the story going to do and tell, outside of just being a period piece samurai.
Sounds cool. Yeah. I always love a good samurai story, be it movie or anime. I think it's good stuff.
No, I agree completely.
I've just always enjoyed it. I mean, samurai movies, samurai anime, samurai manga, whatever it might be. I just find it to be an interesting period to work with. There's a lot to work with there. So,
Yeah, plus I think it's, I mean, for someone like me or you, because obviously not like we haven't watched these period historical pieces before, like, with the Rurouni Kenshin and stuff like that.
Right.
But I mean, not from Japan, not Japanese, didn't grow up there, don't know a whole about the history, so it's another aspect to go to. Obviously, it's like a fictionalized story, but there's things that could happen in the backdrop that could peek it, just a peek into things that could have happened to some degree in the time period, and at the very least, it gets you towards like, well, let me just research general things about the piece. Is usually what I like about some of these shows.
To do that. Yeah, I like that. I always think that's a fun aspect because you do get you pull some truth from these stories and stuff like that, and you learn a little bit. So I always find it to be a really cool period. And there's a lot to work with there because there's a lot of history. I mean, so.
Yeah, obviously, if you have it, you can go and watch it on Crunchyroll and stuff like that. I think they said they were, it was like a few weeks.
One's on Crunchyroll?
Yeah, this one's on Crunchyroll. Because we talked about it a few weeks ago. There's some news about this show wanting to do like something about the whole like a 6 month. They wanted to run for like a few seasons continuously. So we know there's
this is the one called Blue Miburo. Oh, okay.
Yeah, all so right. It's got it
there for a second. Yeah, all right. So
it has a lot of stuff. It has a Japanese name, but it had a proper translated English name.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's based off of the manga the same name that started running that ran from October 2021 to April of 2024. So it doesn't necessarily seem like it's the longest running show, at least from what I was seeing on my list. Or sorry, my bad. There's a sequel manga out. Probably like it should still be airing type thing, but.
Let me ask you a question. Did you get to see I think I only tagged you on one thing today. Did you get to see that by chance? Because it's only 2 minutes long, and I really wanted to talk about it. And it's directly anime related, and Godzilla. And it's legit. So it's 2 minutes, so if you could sort of watch it, I'll bring it back up, and I'd love to hear your reaction to it. I tagged you, Mr. Coffee. Mr.
Yeah, I think I kind of briefly went over it. It's the Godzilla with the Ava mech on there.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, I'll keep it tagged to bring it up.
Okay, cool. I want to talk about it because it's anime related too. But yeah, no, I mean, maybe we can talk about it next week.
Yeah. Did you get a chance? 'Cause I know obviously you said there's. Did you get a chance to watch this one at all before?
This one I did not know. This one, I talked about the other three, so I'll have to. Is this something that you want to try to keep up with? This one?
I might periodically. It didn't.
Because I can
It didn't
definitely
grab me
run
like
through it.
other shows did, but obviously we can still talk about it to some degree, especially if it
What
catches
what
you.
what didn't grab you about it? What do you think?
No,
Maybe.
it's not like I didn't find it enjoying. It's just some shows really, really grab you. Like,
Yeah.
is around to pick up girls in the dungeon, and I watched it like forever ago at this point, like 8 years ago or something like that.
Yeah.
It just grabs you and you're just immediately intrigued. Like, I have to know what happens next type of show. Where this one, I
Yeah.
enjoy it, but it doesn't necessarily scream, I have to watch it. But to be fair, Rurouni Kenshin did the same thing. Period pieces, I find more intrigue in the historical context of the actual history than not always the show, but that's usually what keeps me watching with the show like these.
Do you remember when Tanami aired OVAs? Do you remember that? Because actually, what I watched first, funny enough, is Samurai X, which is the OVA on Tanami.
Yeah, I remember
I
them
just
airing
thought about
certain.
that today.
I remember them airing them, but which ones they actually did, I couldn't. I couldn't remember. I couldn't tell you.
Because there was one for Dot Hack Sign, which is funny because you shared it, I think, yesterday.
Yeah, because I still have the physical because I was looking at some stuff and I was like, oh yeah, I remember watching that. That show completely bored the crap out of me. I hated it.
What bored you about it? I'm not.
It was
'Cause I
just
loved
so
it.
slow. Nothing. It just seemed like the first few episodes, like nothing happened. It was at best an extremely slow story. Because I remember back in the day when we started watching it, 2012, 2014 or something like that. Like it was really popular before
It was
SAO
way
was a
before
thing.
That, though.
Yeah,
It
it's
was
like
way before that.
well, that's when it
I watched
aired.
it as
That's
a
when we
kid.
started watching it. The anime discourse was a lot, more, I don't want to say stagnant, but slower back then as far as, new anime that we got. But I remember that
I
being
think I
like,
saw that when I was like 8 years old. The first
yeah, it
time
came
I
out
watched
like what, 2003, 2004, something like that, early
Yeah.
2000s. But I remember watching it because everyone was like all the rage. And it's like what was popular with SAO before SAO was a thing.
It's the reason we have SAO.
But
I
it's such a,
legitimately think
it was so slow. I just didn't care for it. It bored
it
me.
was so long running though. I mean, it was very popular.
Like I bought the
Um,
physical on DVD. I still have for like the whole. I don't know if it's the whole series or the whole first season. One of the same. But I just
Yeah.
remember not liking it. But I may have not had a chance. Though to be fair,
Well,
like what
yeah.
I watched back then at a high school, we were like 18, 19. Like that, my tastes have changed since then, and what I find
Did you play any
entertaining.
of the games that pretty
No,
much tied directly into it?
I didn't play any of
Yeah, that
them.
was one of the things that I played the games. I rented them back in the day for the PS2. And I think that was it. I think that's all I played any of the games on. I know there's a PS4 game. I think there's 4 PS4 game or PS2 games. Sorry, I think there's 4 of them. I never got to play the fourth one. It's very rare and expensive. And I'm pretty sure there's a collection of those games out now on PS4. I want to say. I have to look it up. I think there's a collection, but I don't know. I always liked it, but I also have some nostalgia tied into it. It was one of those few anime early in Toonami where they weren't airing a lot of anime yet. It wasn't like it got there, but there was a few anime, and the anime always captured me more than anything else. I mean, like Yu-Gi-Oh was essentially Toonami because I remember it would come on at 10 o'clock. I could very rarely get to watch the new episode. Very rarely. I'd be sneaking.
Yes, yeah. You bring up you. I can't help but see the meme, and I will play Pot of Greed to draw 3 additional cards to my deck. You can't do it. It'd be like that, Yugi. But yeah,
Oh, man.
but I mean, yeah, I didn't guess I didn't have a whole lot out the gate for the Miburo, because Miburo is the name of the group of like samurai that's supposed to be dangerous.
Oh, okay.
And then the first episode's kind of serious because there's 2 characters kind of setting up the backdrop, and both the Neo and his sister are kind of used to bring out kidnappers. It's dangerous because I believe it's taking place in Kyoto. So it's got a very serious tone to it and stuff like that. So essentially, obviously, with the story moving forward,
It can be hard to grab you at times if it's too serious. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? There's no
unless you're
humor
like
to it.
super into that. So obviously, Neo, he's gonna go on with them. His younger sister, they're siblings, but they're adopted. I think I mentioned that before. They're not blood related.
Yeah.
She's gonna be taken in by some other wealthy family, essentially. but his goal is like just wants to not do anything. He wants to, make everything great. But like immediately in the second episode, it had that traditional Japanese humor as he actually goes to essentially where their like compound is essentially, and they're training and fighting. And then like I'm like, oh, this kid, like, there's got to be a joke. And there's like a whole like you have to like sumo wrestle, and then he immediately takes off his clothes. He's in the traditional sumo garb, and then all like essentially you have these two teenage boys fighting each other, and all of a sudden everybody's in that sumo garb just wrestling. It's just it. I think the feeling of the first few episodes is it's. I don't know if it's like the best way to mix it, but there is humor and seriousness because the second episode starts off extremely humorous for the first half. Then the second half, it definitely gets a little bit more serious in some of the tones and how it approaches some stuff. So you get the feeling it's gonna have like a back and forth. Like the overall story is gonna be serious.
Had that too. Running Tension had that humor too.
Because you need that humor to break up high tension. And
you do.
You need that tension breaking.
Some of those serious anime, like there's a lot of them I like, but I mean a lot of our, the lists are probably top 5 for both of us, and they both have comedy mixed into the bundle.
Yeah. I'm also biased. Like some of my favorite shows out there have a lot of humor, but also some of them know when the story needs to get serious, it obviously gets serious. Whether that's something like the Tenchi Muyo, whether it's the universe or the OVAs, that's a high school DD and stuff like that. I don't know. I can't remember as much about like is it wrong to pick up girls in a dungeon. Those are just two of the other ones that are very humorous in nature, very perverse, I guess you could say, especially high school DD. But they know when to take themselves seriously, and the story does get serious.
Rosario Vampire was that way.
Yeah, you would know that far more than me.
Yeah, I forgot you don't really like that one. All the ones I love, you're not really like into that much.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's there and it matters, but obviously there's a right way to do it with a comedy show. Like the bulk of it can be funny, but it needs to know when to get serious and take itself seriously.
I'll tell you this: I don't like the ones that are straight comedy. I can't think of any anime at all that's straight comedy that I'm like a big fan of. There's nothing I can think of.
Oh, I
can't come up with one single one at the top of my head.
So you weren't a fan of Space Dandy then? That's a straight comedy through and through. Like, to be fair,
straight to my head. Yeah,
because there's two that immediately come to me. It's Space Dandy, and then I believe it's Level E. They're just straight comedies. There might be a little bit of seriousness, but you watch them purely for the comedy, and that's it.
I mean, because like I guess getting Tenchi Muyo is like 75% comedy, 25% serious, and I do like Tenchi Muyo. But again, that's not straight comedy. There is a lot of serious moments in it.
It's not as like hyper comedic as like a pure comedic show, though.
But it's very comedic.
And it depends on like what are you watching. You're watching Tokyo, you're watching Universe, you're watching into the OVAs, you're watching some of the spinoffs. Because everything but the TV series of GXP kind of follows it's kind of like a little more lighthearted with comedic and serious notes.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's because the original author from the OVA series of all the OVAs wasn't involved in that, though. People have issues with some of the later OVAs.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he hated it so much he made a light novel for it, for GXP to retell the story that's not officially translated in English. Wow. Because he hated it's and I love GXP, super funny, but it doesn't match the tone of any of the other OVA series if you've ever watched them. It's hyper comedic at times to the point where it's very obviously written. It was written and directed by somebody else.
So is this almost like a GT thing? Like, is that
I guess technically? Because I mean, you're thinking that came out early 2000s, right around OVA 3.
Yeah, it was obviously
it was still popular at the time, but I can't remember for whatever reason the studio went with somebody else who was known for comedies. So he put his own spin on it and stuff like that, but. The original author.
EXP is definitely the most comedy based.
I wouldn't expect him to talk about it. And I haven't looked into it in a year or so, so I don't like having the immediate names pulled up in front of me. But I do remember the way the studio went. The original author of the OVA didn't like it, so he just made his own story, and then it's became its own thing.
Yeah, I was just looking here real quick to see if I get any fresh reminders of anything that's straight.
I remember the story. It's just some of the like behind the scenes details are easy to kind of forget.
I look up comedy anime and Spy Family comes up. I still haven't watched that. That's one I want to do.
I mean, there's comedic elements. I wouldn't really call it a straight comedy show.
This is a good one. I did like this. Again, it's not it's a slice of life and comedy, but the Devil's a part-timer. I loved that anime. And that was around that 2015 mark because that was the time we were
Yeah,
getting back into it.
I think I only ever watched like
I
the
would love to
first.
rewatch that because it was really good.
We should.
Like
I
I was
never.
shocked. It's not one that like I would have normally liked either.
I
It
never.
wasn't. There's no action. There was a little. There's a little action, right? But
Yeah.
it's a slice of life comedy when you get down to it.
Yeah, because I
But that's one I
never.
would love to rewatch at some point.
Yeah, I never actually finished that show. I remember watching like a few episodes, but I never actually finished it because there's two other ones. I think now that I was pulling some up, there's Konosuba, which I did watch the first season of, and I absolutely loved it. I need to go back and finish it. That it essentially comes off as like a pure comedy with some quasi serious, I guess.
Another one that I'm an idiot for not thinking of this. Not really. It's obviously like 75% comedy. Oraimo. Because again, it's one you wouldn't think I would like. You wouldn't think I would like it because it's not like the typical anime that I would watch.
100% Brandon is the epitome of incest is wincest. That's a really old meme.
I don't know why I liked it. I'd have to rewatch it. I forget why I liked it.
I'm like, I think of comedy shows. I need to go around because I've been wanting to watch this for years. And I just never pulled the trigger on it. But Gintama.
Yes, yeah, that came up when I was on there. I've watched it. I can't remember a ton about it, but I've watched it before.
100%. I need to go watch that. I guess Bochi the Rock. Never watched it. It came out like the last 5 or so years, maybe, if I'm not completely wrong. But I know that show for the memes, not the actual show. If that's I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, one that came up too, which again, it's not a straight comedy, so I don't know why these are. I put full comedy anime, but Assassination Classroom. Do you remember that one?
I do remember it being really popular. I never watched it though.
Pretty good. I watched it because it came out around that time, like 2014. Let me see, 2013.
So. Yeah,
2013. So it was around that time.
I'm gonna say Google.
There was like 2-year period, that 2013 or 2020 or 2012 to 2015, where we really watched a lot of anime again. I got back into it, and I was all in. Like I was all in on watching new stuff coming out, old stuff.
Oh my god, I can't believe I forgot about this. And this is a classic. I think everyone's watched it. Everyone that's really into anime, Golden Boy is the first time I watched that, because I think it's like a 6-episode OVA or something like that. I about died laughing on some of those episodes.
It's hilarious.
Like my first exposure, I think I saw a clip on like Facebook or something like that, where he's like trying to like, oh, I can swim, and he's like struggling drowning the whole time until he gets across. And he's like goes from like this goofy struggling to so how'd you like my swimming? That show is hilarious.
It's pretty funny, pretty perverse.
I guess because we're talking about it. Did you
call it a Japanese sex comedy manga series?
100% is what I classify that as.
Yeah, I would too.
He's got 2 things on his mind: studying and girls.
Yeah,
I mean, he beat a chick on a motorcycle with his bicycle. They had a race and he won that.
This was part of the Jump family of magazines. I didn't know that. Jump Comics Deluxe.
Is that still like, is that an older thing, or is that still like ongoing?
That was one of like the early Shonen Jump.
Yeah, because you're thinking like Golden Boy, you're thinking like 90s, like early 90s, late 80s.
They had I don't know if I ever say it right, but I call it Seinen series. Like that's what they call this.
Seinen, that's more like like an adult male audience.
They had like a comic. They had magazines for that, Shonen Jump, and then some of the other categories. They had like a few. It was like a family of magazines. So
yeah, because I meant to. Did you ever get around to watching Prison School back in the day? Because I think I watched a handful of episodes of it.
No, never watched that one.
It's the same context. It's like a comedy, like we call it like a sex comedy, but it kind of is. Like it's definitely an ecchi through and through.
I put it in Prison School and it comes up with local stuff.
No, it's a 2015 show.
No, I never watched this one. I just looked it up. I haven't
It's
seen
in
it.
the same breath as like High School of the Dead, High
High
School
School D-
DD.
That's what it says. It says explore. Wait, here's another good one. To Love Ru. Do you remember that one?
Never watched it, but I do know it was like a really popular thing. Had
You
that
would like
same
it.
comedy etchy aspect to it.
You would like it.
God, there's a lot of shows I remember back in the day I
More up
never
your
watched.
alley.
I never finished watching Panty Stocking, and that was a pretty
I
pretty
remember
funny
that,
show.
yeah.
Like I watched like a lot of these shows, I was watching like a handful, and then just for whatever reason, you just never finished.
There's so many, man. You just, especially now, like you think about it now, it's almost overwhelming because there's just like video games or any other medium. There's so much.
It's impossible to keep up with everything. Like
You
that's
can't.
the
You just
problem.
can't. You just gotta realize that you can't. I mean, that's all there is to it. There's so many that I want to watch. Like there's things like never I stopped watching like Fairy Tale, for instance. And I always wanted to go back and watch more of that, and I just never have.
Yeah, I never got into it, but I worked with a guy that was super into it, had watched it like, 4 times
I
over.
liked it. And then you think about like One Piece, like I wish I hadn't stopped watching that because now I'll never watch it. Now I'll play
I take
all
that
the
back.
games that come out. I'll watch the movies, but I'll never try to catch
It
up
is
as a series.
possible to watch the anime. You have to commit yourself to watching like an episode a day.
I am not committing myself to doing that. An episode a day, but yeah, I'll be 40 years old by the time I catch up.
No, you could watch like 600 episodes in a year if you did like 2 episodes a day, like 700 episodes. You could be pretty caught up.
Episodes a day.
You could realistically, if you harder now, but if you have the time, you could.
All I watched. I mean, we're doing this. Like we watch other stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like I've got other commitments and things like that, so it's a little hard to keep up.
I'm just saying it technically is possible if you really wanted to watch it. You could catch up. It would still take you forever to do, but.
That would be all I watched. I just don't think I'd want to do it.
You kind of burn yourself out watching it that much.
It's overwhelming. Yeah, I just thinking about it. I'm like, I'm good. I'll learn a little about the story when like movies and stuff like that come out.
You'd probably be better off just reading the manga. You'd catch up probably a lot faster.
Right, would catch up quicker doing it that way.
Even though there's still like 1,000 chapters or something you'd have to read, but you could read through a chapter probably faster than watching like a 20-minute episode.
Probably. Yeah.
If you're like super into binging it, plus you got your phone, so I don't know, you just sit down and read 2 chapters a night or something like that.
We just talked about that. I don't like the experience.
I don't know why I do it all the time.
It's just not. I like the physical format of a manga.
Yeah, but I know we're in the process of talking. I guess comedy is a good segue because this, at the very least, early on, it starts off as a comedy. Is it wrong to try to pick up girls in a dungeon?
Very much. It's very comedic. It captures you a little bit because you got. I would say that first episode is mostly comedy because it's very, very little action. Like, I mean, you get maybe 4 minutes total of him in the dungeon for the whole episode.
Yeah, in the first few episodes, once you get to episode,
but he's never in there for more than like 30 seconds. You don't think?
You know what I mean? Because you're more trying to.
Yeah.
You're more trying to establish the characters. Once you get to episode 3, he fights the gorilla monster, and then obviously as it moves on, you're gonna spend more
action,
more time as he starts to level up because you're kind of just trying to like introduce the character.
My question is, what are you doing about Goddess? That's all I want to know. What's going on there? What's she pushing off for? What do you mean, the girl?
What about her? What's it? Her name's Hestia.
Why you ignored her? I don't. It's just a goddess in the first episode. Never said name.
Got it. Yeah, but her name's Hestia. He calls her goddess. I think the actual Japanese word there is I can't blank on the actual name for it, but it's killing me.
I watched the dub. So
well, because technically, like Hestia is she's like a mythical goddess. I think she's based on Greek mythology. Because you've got, Loki's another god.
Oh yeah, they do mention Loki.
You got some other mythologies from like Norse, Greek, Roman, some other stuff for like these gods. Because the idea is they say they left heaven, they left whatever realm they're in to come down and live with the humans. They don't like have all the powers that they would have. It does a really quick explanation. Essentially, like this is a thing. The backdrop. Let's kind of keep the story moving along, and it might go a little bit more in depth later, but. They're just the ones that are like the heads of these families, the familia, if you want to call it.
Yeah, that's what they call it in there. I want to check out the games because there's 2 video games for it. I mean, obviously, this is very much like a video game, an RPG. It's meant to. I think it's meant to be more. It seems like it's meant to be like a video game slash D&D sort of mixture in the first episode. Is what. And
Yeah,
that's kind of what I
because
remember from
because
it.
there's like you technically have like levels and
He's
stats and
got the
stuff like
stats
that and
on his
abilities.
back.
So it takes
Yeah.
like an actual real world, but there these your gods and goddesses are able to like activate your stats and see what's going on. The more you do certain things, you level
Heal
up.
and stuff like that. Yeah.
It's not the whole isekai another world or a video game. This is like their world that they live in. It's just you have this added ability to it. So there's technically you level up, power up
So,
type thing.
you know what's funny about this? I was looking on here. Guess who this is published by? When
Who?
you think of RPG, who do you think of?
RPG. You're thinking like
RPG game. What company
it's.
do you think of
I'm
first?
thinking of the company, and this is bad because we do the Game Junction one. It's a Japanese game company, and I can't think of
Yeah.
the name. It's killing me.
Square Enix
Oh,
publishes this.
of course. I drew a blank. Now I feel terrible.
Oh man, it's all good. No, that's hilarious that they publish this because I mean it very much is like a JRPG. But like you were saying, this is their world. And they're not in a video game; it's their world. So it's interesting. Um, and I'm looking here.
I think it also
So-
kind of goes by DanMachi. I don't know if that's relevant to the actual Japanese name or it's kind of shortened up.
Probably just shortened up. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, it's got a really short Japanese name. Well, it's got a long Japanese name too.
Well the English titles. It's one of those. It's a whole sentence for the actual title.
And then it's got a subtitle too. What's a subtitle for?
Oh, is it? It's like Familia something.
Yeah, something familiar. I think.
I think that's.
Don't even see it on Wikipedia for the subtitle.
Oh, Familia Myth. At least that's the English subtitle. I had to pull it up.
Yeah, it's a long title. But no, it's definitely interesting. He's immediately, right from the beginning of the show, captured by another adventurer who's a level 5. He's a level 1.
Oh, the girl he ends up falling in love with, because she's part of Loki's Familia.
Clan.
It's
Familia, yeah.
I gotta pull it up. I'm pull up the actual character because it's killing me that I can't remember these characters. I was actually just watching this like an hour before, and it's.
So in 2014, a spin-off light novel series came out with subtitled Sword Oratoria.
Yes, because make the screen a little bit bigger. Funny enough, I have both the first 2 volumes for the. Oh,
What happened? Good?
yeah, the screen froze.
Oh, that's not good. What screen? OBS?
Yeah, you and me and OBS just froze.
Oh, man.
I did this early. I don't know why.
That's weird. Is it updated?
Yeah.
That's weird.
Okay, yeah, no, I had to. All right. I had to fix for whatever reason. Discord was kind of. The Discord capture is kind of weird, so it froze us for a second. Hopefully, it wasn't frozen too long on screen, but because I had the first, I bought these a while ago. The first 2 volumes for that spinoff, both the light novel and the manga.
Oh, cool.
For the spinoff. I never actually saw the actual manga for the original one because I bought these years ago and I never actually got around to reading them, which is unfortunate. But I still have them, so I can. But the first 3 volumes of the actual light novel of Is There On to Pick Up Girls in the Dungeon that I need to actually go back to and actually finish reading these.
Exactly the same too.
Because we talked about it. I first watched this because the second season came out in 2019, so I'm sitting there thinking 2016 to was it 2018, somewhere in there is when I watched this originally, and I got into it. But I was sitting there thinking like, why didn't I never watch season 2? I was like, oh, it's because it took like 4 years to come out. So I bought these. I read the manga. I meant to get around to reading the light novels. I just never did because reading sucks sometimes.
It does. Not gonna lie, light novels. I just don't read. I don't read anymore.
Yeah, but
I've
I
read in years.
got sitting there like I do have these because like I was really into it when it first came out, but second season took forever. By the time the second season came out, I just really wasn't watching anime anymore, which is really unfortunate.
Yeah, we've all had this period, so
But
I think anybody that's into it, any medium, has a period of not super being into it. Did it with games, did it with everything. So
yeah, but I mean, because when I talked about it, like because I want to start watching this, and obviously, the goal is, and I think by the end of the year, by the end of December, I could probably be caught up on the 5 seasons. That's my goal. But yeah, because I want to sit down here once we're fully cut up, because it's season 5's airing now, so not fully up to what that is, but like I want to be able to sit down and be like, okay, I want to completely talk up with this. Obviously, maybe not every week, but kind of like what we're doing with like Daima, Don and stuff like that. I want to be able to be like, once we're done watching it, like as we're going through, like, okay, full thoughts, top to bottom. Like, what do we feel about it?
I want to hear something funny. So in North America, this is licensed by Sentai Filmworks. Do you remember them?
I do.
They did. I'm trying to remember what. Hold on, let me pull it up.
One of the big things they did, because I bought it. I was at a convention in Atlanta in 2018 when I bought a box set for, like a special edition box set for the Gate anime.
Oh yeah.
Because you can kind of see it on my back screen. That's that little green box right there is the actual special edition where the DVD, cool. Blu-ray, like little book and stuff was all in.
That's neat.
Sentai does a lot of stuff. They adapt a lot of good stuff.
They do. Yeah, no, I was looking here. Akame got killed. I don't know if you remember that. That was on Toonami.
Oh my god.
That's the one I was thinking of. And then also Gotcha Man, they did.
Agame got kill. Talk about a show that is messed me. Did not expect what I expected. It's a brutal show.
It's a brutal show.
I remember that show.
TV, and it was still brutal.
Oh my god. I remember watching that because I was watching it as it was airing. You're just sitting here like, oh my god, this is one of those early ones that you're sitting here like it's like I can't believe they're actually pulling the trigger on this with how it's going. The story's going.
Kind of like Elfen Lied a little bit. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
No.
It's a little different, but you kind of expect that from the start. This one doesn't start like that.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be like spoiled, but you get used to this big party, and then it just becomes tragedy in like the back half of the back third of the show.
What's the one I'm thinking with the brutal beginning that we talked about a few times?
I thought that's what it was.
Lied. Is it Elfen Lied that starts the brutal?
That's one of them. Like the first episode's like the best episode of the whole series, but it's all downhill after that. But
oh man, I don't know. That's pretty good.
I do remember
Square Enix serialized Akame got killed as well.
Yeah, because it's one of the you guess you want to call it the bad guys. It's a Esdeath.
I had no idea Square Enix was tied into anime like that.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Like it's just like one of the characters, the one of the baddies, Esdeath from that show, and you're like, I want to side with her. Like she's hot. I'm down. I'm down bad.
In 2007, Takahiro was asked to do a manga for Square Enix magazine. So this was originally a Square Enix magazine. Interesting. So yeah, we should probably talk about Daima.
I mean, yeah, we can get right into it.
What do you think about this week's episode? Because I thought that was pretty good. A lot happened.
A lot did happen. I mean, it kind of continued on with the first few episodes because this is what episode 4. It's episode 6.
Oh, that's episode 6, yeah.
So it kind of continues with the story. I guess before potential spoilers ahead, so just be warned.
Yeah.
But it's like the last of the episodes before the story really kind of kicks forward because it's part of it from where the story goes. Because next episode, the episode kind of blue balled me a little bit because I have to wait another week. So I hate watching anime week to week.
Right at the end,
right before he fights the Tamagami. Tamagami number 3 for the Dragon Ball in the third Demon World, but also because we know for sure the one guy that they're with, I can't remember his name.
Blue guy.
Yeah, we know he has a connection to the. Let me pull up the names real quick, so I'm not butchering this completely.
I thought it was interesting introducing a Dragon Ball in episode 6. I mean, seems kind of early. We don't know how many episodes we're getting, so maybe it's really not. But
yeah, so it's Glorio, because if I don't have names pulled up, I'm terrible. I'm terrible with some names, to be fair, because we already knew Glorio in connection with Dr. Udensu. This kind of follows up on that a little bit. Obviously, they're still being followed by the patrol guys and stuff like that.
Yeah,
you find out that
we
Shin
didn't really know that they were following them,
but they were looking for him, especially after they tagged her necklace, because that comes
necklace,
back.
Yeah, but I mean, the ship, you get the ship for Vegeta and gang, Piccolo and stuff like that. So they got picked up, so they're going to be right behind them now.
Yeah, because you had a Hibis come pick them up.
Yeah, weird character.
But Goku's like, nah. He's like, nah.
Pizza with worms.
Yeah, but he's like, nah, screw it. I'm not gonna wait for them. They can just catch up to this. Like, you kind of got the feeling that Goku wants to fight this guy before Vegeta gets there and like steals his thunder.
He straight up says it. Well, he didn't say the Vegeta part, but that's
you 100%. He's like, nah, I want to fight him by myself. You see how strong he is. See how strong I am and stuff like that. Because we know that that's coming the next episode, but. This is what didn't happen, but it was on the teaser for the next episode. We do know that both the new Demon Lord, sorry, that's something in my throat. Demon King Goma, we know Degasu and Dr. Dentsu are going to make another appearance in the next episode, so you kind of get the feeling it's going to move forward. Goku's about to fight this. The rest of our crew is now in the third demon world, so they're on their way. Mm-hmm. They should be here, I assume, in the next, if not this episode, then the following episode.
Yeah, I think probably episode 8. We'd probably be looking at them catching up.
Yeah, like at the latest.
These episodes seem so short too, because I'm very interested in watching it.
I think it's just short. You're into it because it's about the same length, but you're
really into it.
When it's something you really want to watch, it goes by quickly. When it's something you don't care for, it starts to drag on a little bit.
Well, even the other one that I really liked, Is It Wrong? This seemed to be significantly longer. It felt longer, and I'm like, I really enjoyed it. So I don't know. But just seems like it goes by so fast. I'm like, dang, you really don't get that much story in these episodes, do you?
I think it's just maybe how it's written. But obviously, a lot happens. They're just still traveling and stuff like that.
But yeah, she got her necklace broke off. So that's from
yeah, because you found out like, oh, this is a mineral from where the original Kais were from in the demon world. Like, oh, I can take it off. But he's like, oh, it's just a spell. You just have to know to get rid of it.
He said my sister did it. Yeah,
he assumes that she's the one that made this because they also referenced the previous demon lord.
Yes,
the one that Goku kills in Z and stuff like that. No, it's not Goku. It's Boo.
Vegeta,
Boo.
Right?
No, it's Boo.
Oh, yeah.
Turns him into a cookie and eats him.
Yeah.
So, because we know there's a connection there, but we also found out that the Shin, the Supreme Kai, actually has a demon name. It's Nahade is his actual demon world name, but Shin / Supreme Kai is his Earth world name.
Yeah.
Goku's like, I'm gonna call you that, and he's like, nah, I'm just gonna keep calling you Supreme Kai. It's just easier.
Love it.
But
yeah, it was good. I thought overall, I kind of sucked to end where it did. Right before he fights the giant Tasame. Is that what it's called?
Tamagami number 3.
Tamagami. Yeah.
Yeah, because like I go looking back.
Remind me of the Skull and Bones creature. Do you remember? I don't remember the name of the creature from Dragon Ball. But it reminds me of that robot. I had an action figure of this robot with the long head. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's from the original Dragon Ball, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember what you're talking about. But I mean, this
was one of the... I can't remember what the name of it was, but it reminded me of that. It gave me those vibes.
Yeah, I can't remember, but I know what you're talking about. But it felt like not a whole lot happened, but it's just setting up for the next episode, which is pretty much, these patrols, but they're kind of not really a threat. We just have to make sure they don't kind of get in our way, and then... Hey, here's the Tamagami that we're gonna fight, and then the setup. Locals, oh, you're crazy. Nobody puts a scratch on them.
2 questions. Do you think that the Dragon Ball Super anime or manga is going to continue, and do you think that we get a manga for this?
I think we will get a manga for this, though it's going to be probably after the fact, and it's just probably just going to be the manga version retelling. But Super. I could see Super moving on.
Officially on hiatus.
Yeah, I just don't know what they want to do with it.
I confirmed it before, but it's like, Akira Toriyama was directly involved with it. He was telling the story. So it's like, what happens there? It is a really good question. What we are getting this, but again, he was involved. So this first season, we know he was involved with it.
Yeah, it just
He wasn't
depends.
even an anime guy. He straight up said that in interviews. He didn't care for anime, but he was directly involved with this, and you could tell that his imprint's there. So I was thinking about it. I'm like, I don't know. Do we get Dragon Ball Daima season 2? It seems like we would.
I think we will, but I don't know. I don't know what's actually was their long-term plan out. Like how far out did they want to? What's the general like story that he wanted to tell and stuff like that? What
obviously the studio collect all these Demon World Dragon Balls and stuff like that and turn themselves back, but it's like how, like, does it continue beyond that? And
I mean, I guess only time will tell. I think it's a mixture of popular. As far as Dragon Ball going away, I don't know if the studio wants it to go away.
I don't think it could. I mean, it's such a big franchise.
I imagine it's going to stay around, but they have to kind of like
$5 million franchise.
They have to shift around what they're going to do and stuff like that. So I mean, somebody's going to make a decision, but I don't see this just ending just because of Toriyama's not here with us anymore.
I don't see the Dragon Ball Super manga continuing. I think at the end of the day, that's kind of how I feel.
I think it could. Unlike a lot of other stuff, at the very least, I think they're going to put out something to just end wherever it's at, give it a proper ending, instead of just leaving it on whatever kind of hiatus cliffhanger. But yeah. I mean, it also comes down to, I don't know how much story he had written out for the rest of it that they could take and finish.
I wonder if he had any involvement at all or got to see Sparking Zero. I mean, I wonder how long that was in development for. I wonder if he got to see it, because it's so true to the story, and it's when we talk about a fighting game, this is a fighting series. Like, it does it very well. I'm curious if he got to see it.
I know
he really liked fighters, and that looked like you were watching an anime episode.
Yeah, but I could also see the other side, that he had very little involvement in the game. I could see it going both ways.
Yeah, sure.
It's just, I just don't know if there's enough out there, or at the very least, I haven't seen anything that says one way or another it's what he was actually doing.
Yeah.
And I guess, there was the one joke where Goku, because we talked about it yesterday, where Pansy's like, oh, how's it like raising a son? And Goku's like, I wasn't really involved. It's kind of a crap father.
Wasn't there most of the time. He's either dead or fighting.
Yeah, pretty much. You really look at all of Dragon Ball, you're like, wow, you're just not involved in your son's life at all.
Not at all. No, besides fighting with them.
Yeah, because you go back and you look at what happened in the Teen Gohan arc. That's the joke, but when you look back at the Cell Saga, where essentially his wife wants another baby. So he's like, I'm pregnant. He's like, bye, see y'all later. I'm gonna go to King Kai.
Oh man, yeah. Pretty crappy father. Everybody loves him though, so it's okay. Oh man,
it's like that's what Piccolo's there for.
Yeah, true.
Oh man, like DBZ Bridge definitely plays into that hard.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah.
Like when he, especially when he gets to Namek, he's like, Dad. He's like, oh, hey, what's up? Hey, Krillin, how's it going?
You ever watch Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged?
I haven't.
It's freaking hilarious. We talked. I don't know if we talked about it on this podcast. I don't think we have. But the manga plays more into the manga a little bit, and the manga is freaking brutal and.
Oh yeah, we have talked about that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, he essentially is a serial killer. That's what he is. Like completely different than the anime that we got. It's like one of the furthest anime manga differences I've ever seen before.
So you're gonna reread the manga and give us a rundown?
I've read it so many times. I would probably reread it. I've read at least the first 4 volumes. I've read all of it, but I've read at least the first 4 volumes so many times. I loved it as a kid. I got that first volume. I was like, oh my God, I shouldn't have this. I'm going to keep rereading it. And I reread that thing multiple times. I mean, because at first, I only had volume 1. I eventually got the other ones, and just crazy series.
No, I mean, it absolutely is. For Dandadan, what episode did you watch? Because I can't remember exactly where you were. You watch, oh yeah, every episode 2, so you're 5 behind. Uh,
A little bit behind, yeah.
yeah, I think because I want to before getting too much into it. I wanted you to catch up. You might
I
catch up by
know,
the time
like,
it ends
that's the
airing.
one I'm going to focus on, trying to
Yeah,
catch up because I know that you're really into it.
I can't help
There
it. It
isn't
grabbed
really
me.
much else that I can say for episode 2. Honestly, that's kind of how I felt. I didn't think it was bad or anything. I'm not saying that. Um, it was good.
I definitely think
I felt the same way for episode 1.
yeah.
It's a weird anime, um, but it's fun. It's a fun
Yeah, that's what I
anime
was
too,
thinking.
but with serious elements as well. Like it's weird, fun, different, kind of stands on its own. Like it's not like anything else really. So that's the one thing I like about it. It does stand on its own very much, and I think that's why people like it so much now. And it is very popular.
Yeah, because
Which
I mean
is,
we're finally getting we're getting the English. Cause I showed this on the Anime Junction Cast. I got the first
Yeah.
4 volumes of this of the 9 that they've put out. And I mean, I'm pretty sure the manga is going to go past where the anime is, but I'm going to wait till the anime stops airing. Then I'm going to be like completely up to date on the manga because like I absolutely love the show and where it's at. I
Yeah.
think the
a lot
more
of people do. I see it on X a lot. A lot of people posting about it,
yeah,
and
the more anime that we get, the more I think the show just gets better personally. But that's because
Yeah.
you get more characters, a little bit more depth as far as the story and the characters, some of the powers and stuff like that. It's able to be more creative in how it tells the story because you have to like build off somewhere.
it reminds me a little like it's got just some elements spiced in of character wise, like sort of some of the, because you got the spiritual, the ghosts and the demons, and
Yeah,
reminds
the
me a
yokai and
little of
stuff.
Spirited Away with that.
Yeah,
A
it
little
pulls
bit.
off not always
Like the
of Jap.
granny reminds me of the grandma character from Spirited Away. You know what I mean?
I think in some aspects it's maybe not as creepy, but the folklore, the mythology, not just Japanese, but just general folklore mythology as a whole that's there. Because in the most recent episode, there's a reference to the Loch Ness. It's kind of somewhat making an appearance and stuff like that. So it's pulling from a lot of different things, not just straight like American, but you have American stuff there.
Yeah, that's Ireland. So yeah, so
You
it's
have Ireland,
cool
you've got Japanese, or for some of these, I'll at least put a Japanese spin to it because it's not too spoilerly, but I thought it was
Bigfoot.
I thought it was really neat. They brought in the Loch Ness, but Loch Ness kind of looked like a kaiju. It had like a Godzilla feel to it.
Oh yeah,
And some of its abilities
look
and how it
cool.
looked. I was like, that's like a Japanese put a Japanese spin on certain
That's cool.
on certain like
I like
mythological creatures. Because I thought I absolutely loved how it looked. But I
There's
just
a lot to work with there.
yeah, it's like because there's so much out there, and there's no like one like when you do like a lot of folklore and stuff like that. It's not like there's like one set of like hardcore lore. You're not dealing with like Greek mythology where it's pretty much set in stone. You have like a whole lot of freedom that you could really approach it. So you're not doing the same thing over and over again.
Oh, I'm calling it now. We see Bigfoot come into the picture.
I want to see Mothman come in.
That's I was
just because that's what was relevant to what's that Ohio, Pennsylvania area, the whole Mothman thing.
West Virginia.
Yeah, because they already pulled one from West Virginia from like in episode 2, I think, with the sumo. But
the Mothman Museum is in West Virginia.
Yeah. Oh, because you just watched it, episode 2, because that's the one with the sumo wrestler, right?
Yeah.
It's because that character's pulled from West Virginia folklore. I know we talked about it a few episodes ago. Yeah.
I'll look it up. See if I can.
2 monster. Yeah, it's trying to pull it because it's I know what it looks like. They gave it like a sumo, a sumo outfit to it, but it's based off a mythological creature from West Virginia. Oh no, yeah, it's the Flatwoods monster, which comes from West Virginia.
So yeah, you also got the white thing, the snarly yowl, and Mothman is number 1. But those are the top 4 from West Virginia. Jesus, I never heard of the other 2 before. The white thing, also known as a white creature. And then the snarly owl creature has been roaming the mountains for some time, according to folklore.
Yeah, and they take it like a whole yokai approach.
That's a whole cryptid thing. Let's get into the whole cryptids.
There is a unique take because it was like
a whole thing on that.
Yeah, because I think it was episode 5 where you really kind of see a certain way they take a spin on it. But aliens are still a thing. So you have aliens and then the yokai, the whole mythological folklore.
you're not stuck to one thing where it's just the cryptids or stuff like that. So
Yeah, it's okay. In the recent episode, there was a baseball joke.
a baseball joke.
Yeah, with one of our with one of Okunun's balls. Makes no sense to you right now, but it makes
Okay.
perfect sense, and I thought it was a really funny scene.
That's funny.
And I watched it, I was sitting there like, oh my god, that it made me hurt. I was like, oh, it's okay. It'll make sense when you get there. If you've watched it, 100%, you know what I'm saying.
All right.
But I mean, I guess I can pull up this little Godzilla trailer since
Yeah.
we're great at segues. We have to.
It's anime and kaiju related, so
Yeah, we're great at segues. Even we're so good, we have to announce it every time.
hey, I mean, if you what's actually called for viewers so they can watch it as well. I'm trying to pull up.
I can find
It's just the extended trailer of Shin Godzilla and Evangelion versus Kaiser Ghidorah. Pachinko short film has been released. It's literally 2 minutes at 5 seconds long. But it's looks good.
Yeah, so I gotta pull it up and it's muted. But yeah, it looks like a nice little thing on screen as you're having it play. It's got Godzilla. It's got the what's it, King Ghidorah with the 3 heads for the kaiju, and then it's got like the Ava, the main Ava mech. I don't know. I can't remember what. I think it's O2 or O3. I can't remember exactly which. It's the main purple one. But I mean, yeah, I watched this. It looks really cool. Like they should make this like an actual full on movie.
They really should,
because Godzilla and Evangelion are really popular IPs in Japan. So like a crossover film would be, I think it would be cool, and I think you could make it work.
I will say I'm openly not a fan of Shin Godzilla. Talked about it many times. I'm not a fan of the design of Godzilla in it. I'm not a fan of the transformations. But King Ghidorah and the Evangelion back in this is pretty dang cool.
Yeah, because I think this is what they mentioned. Because Mr. Goji over on Twitter, this is like a pachinko short. Which of course it is. We only get these cool things when it's related to Japanese pachinko gambling.
Right. Konami straight has to play into this.
But even with its Shin Godzilla, it's not far from my favorite version of Godzilla. I still think it looks dope, and the fact that they're open to stuff like this, even to this degree.
And the Evangelion combined, which is wild.
Yeah, because even like King Ghidorah is using like the whole shield that Neon Genesis uses, the weird like pentagon looking shields that they have. It's like incorporating that even with the monsters.
Yeah, it's really cool.
I mean, great. It's like the 20th time that Tokyo's just been destroyed, but that's like par for the course.
They don't learn. They should rebuild there.
We need to build somewhere else.
Yeah, I think it's about time.
And I think it's also kind of a decent little segue, because I mentioned it on the Game Junction, but just got the Godzilla -1 in. Haven't opened it yet. I think tomorrow, Sunday, it'll be the day this podcast goes live. I'm going to open it. Probably not like a short. What's that?
I want you to watch it because Mr. Coffee mentioned apparently that specific version that you have has sound issues. Did you see that? He tagged us in.
I saw that. I hope it's just like a defect 1 volume, because mine's still in the plastic. Because I'm probably going to do, I mean, nothing more than 5 minutes. There's not a whole lot to it, but I plan on actually watching it here probably around Thanksgiving, but at least for this, I wanted to pop it in, just make sure, like, how does it actually look like on screen and stuff like that. So hopefully I don't run into issues, because
great, because it's 4K Blu-ray. So.
Yeah, and I think it's funny that I accidentally walked into this movie, but not on the original run in the US. It was the -1, like the limited run, and it was pure accident, pure great accident, because I originally watched it in black and white, and I very quickly in the theaters became my favorite movie, my favorite Godzilla movie. I should preface. And I absolutely loved it. I was like, this is amazing. Like, how did I not know this was a thing? And how did I just get lucky that I watched it in like the 2 week or month long? I knew about that one. So maybe that's why I just wasn't paying attention. I didn't follow a lot of stuff at the time, but I was like, oh my God.
Transformations, man. They just throw you off. It's not even the final design of Godzilla. So, but I don't like the mouth thing. I don't like that. I think it looks stupid. I think that was really dumb, and they very quickly did not continue that Godzilla, as you can see with -1.
To be fair, I think the
I
movie had other problems than just the Godzilla's design.
That was the biggest problem for me.
I think it was the overall writing of the story was my problem.
The movie's just not great. I mean, it's not.
It's not good written characters. You're in, what's the joke? You're in meetings too much. There's just too.
Yeah.
A lot of people talking about doing stuff, not enough stuff actually getting done.
Yeah. It had a lot of problems for sure.
I mean, when Godzilla's on screen,
my least favorite Godzilla movies ever. I mean,
yeah, but
it's got to be down there with the 2000 Godzilla or 99 Godzilla. That is.
I mean, when Godzilla's on screen, that's like the only exciting part of the movie, and it's not even the best Godzilla that I like to watch.
It's the worst, if you ask me. I mean, legitimately, like watching. If you're like watching Godzilla, the American Godzilla is more interesting to watch. Like, if it, like to actually watch destruction, it's not a good movie, but it is more interesting to me than Shin Godzilla was, and it was a terrible take if you ask me. It's a terrible Godzilla at the end of the day when compared to anything else, but it was more interesting. I mean, I could still like rewatch it and stuff like that, and still have that same excited feeling as a kid because I loved Godzilla as a kid. My dad was always watching on Sci-Fi Channel and stuff like that, so I was very excited for that when it came out. I was young, but I was very excited.
I mean, why not?
Yeah, I mean, I was a little kid when that came out, but I mean, I just loved it when it got the stuff from I think it was Burger King that had the Godzilla stuff when it came out, like the promo stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, but we kind of talked about this under the Game Junction, but because of what it's tied to, like from software, but the fact that Sony is in talks to acquire Katakawa, which has obviously been confirmed by them, like this is an ongoing thing. I don't know how to feel about this. I would prefer them to remain separate companies, but I've also heard some stuff where it's like, well, if they don't acquire it, a Korean company is going to take them to buy them.
That wouldn't be good.
Which, and I don't know, I don't have it immediately pulled up, but people would prefer Sony compared to this Korean company because they have a bad record. I was trying to find it again. I can't find it, or exactly what the other company was, but I do know it was like a Korean company that was like looking to buy them.
Grum's post about that?
He posts a lot of stuff. I know he's posting about this. I didn't see everything.
Okay. I thought that's what you tagged me in was from
I mean, I originally saw this. It was posted by @AnnieNews and Facts over on Twitter. But I mean, if this actually goes through, Sony's just gonna have a larger share of overall anime. And while they might technically not be a monopoly, it's technically going there because as far as like in the US, they're gonna have like the bulk of licensing at the very least for anime distribution and licensing, if not outright owning a lot of stuff.
Right.
I mean, some of the more popular series that's gonna, assuming this was to go through, Katakawa's, worked on some stuff as like producers on a lot of stuff. 86 is a new anime that's out that's pretty popular. The Fate Stay series, the ReZero and stuff like that. As far as like films goes, you've got stuff like Kimi no Na wa.
I think it's not a good thing, but it's better than a Korean company, I think, grabbing them up. I didn't want to mention. I figured I'd just mention it real quick because I did see it and it's trending on Twitter or X. The Yaiba anime is getting a remake and there's a trailer out for it and it looks really good. It says premiering in April 2025. I don't know if you saw that.
Said the Yaiba.
Yeah, you don't remember that?
Oh, that's
Samurai Legend.
It's a really old manga from the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've never watched this.
Yeah, it looks good. So it might be something that we have to check out because it looks like it. Yeah, premiering April 2025. So.
Yeah, but I saw this and like they're getting they'd have a lot of stuff.
Classic anime art style to it, which I love.
Yeah. We also had some other stuff. Didn't get like the other ones. Didn't get a chance to talk about this, but there's a new light novel for the high school DD. It's the Junior High School DD Volume 2. Of this, at least in Japan, is coming out on the 20th of November. So it, like 3 days ago from we're recording this, it came out. But there's the first volume of this. I didn't even know they had a spinoff of it. Trying to, if it'll pull up. Started airing back in May of this year. So it's a fairly new IP for the light novel
Oh, okay.
author.
Cool.
But I'm also in the long process of trying to catch up, get and read all of the high school D&D light novels as well. Because as much as that's a perverse show, I think why the show, the anime, is so good is because it's a light novel. So if you're reading like a novel, it has to have a good story. It's not like it's just anime where you can just have eye candy on screen and live off that all day. It's a light novel first, so there's a good baseline story. Anybody that's actually watched a significant portion of high school DD, like, yeah, it's really perverse, but the writing's really good under all the highly ecchi, highly sexual stuff on the surface.
Yeah.
It gets you with that, and then it bashes you over the head with actually really good writing.
Have we ever talked about High School of the Dead on here?
I think we maybe once or twice, but the problem was the manga artist passed away a few years ago, and the manga went on hiatus after the 2011 earthquake and tsunami. So the story was like, it's like 34 some chapters that got released. So the story just ends on essentially a cliffhanger, which just kind of sucks. Because I thought the manga is really good. It's still, an ecchi perverse show, but the anime takes it up far more to the umpteenth degree compared to the manga as far as like the absurd hypersexuality in the show.
And I'm not into the hypersexual stuff.
It's also, at the very least at the time, but I still think as a whole, there's not a whole lot of zombie anime out there. It's kind of like a really niche IP.
It's really not. Yeah. It was very unique. At the time, it was.
Because I think it came out at like the height, even over here in the West, it was like around the height of the whole zombie craze.
Zombie stuff, yeah. Yeah, because I mean, obviously Walking Dead really kind of.
It was airing. Pretty sure it was airing at the time. You had the Resident Evil movies and stuff like that, though they're terrible compared to the games. Those were still somewhat successful movies. That's why we got like 7 of them. Though they progressively got worse and less successful.
Underworld, which I mean, obviously isn't straight zombie, but there's zombies in it.
Or at the very least, it was catching the coattails of the zombie craze before it kind of petered out as a whole. But there's just, at the time I was just at high school, so hey, tits, I'm all in.
I figured I'd mention this because you did bring up Fate Stay Night. It's called Fate Stay Night: Heaven's Feel. The movie trilogy is coming to Crunchyroll and Hulu on December 19th.
I guess that's good. Did it mention where it was coming before, or was it ever licensed?
Does not say any other details.
Okay. But I mean, at the very least,
there's a website for it, fatestaynight.usa.com.
I think like
Heaven's Feel 3 is getting a Blu-ray. It got a Blu-ray release August 17th of this year.
Yeah. No, I have I had Fate Stay Night. I think it's the first version of it on DVD, and I never actually finished watching it. I know it's really popular.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever gave it a proper chance, to be honest.
I actually know about this from the video games because I play it on Vita.
All I know,
think there was 2 of them.
All I know about Fate Stay is it's uber complicated as far as the story and the amount of anime and the titling of some of the animes don't make any sense.
Yeah. The trailer looks good for this 3, though. We'll say that.
Yeah, no, it definitely does. I know this is kind of like anime adjacent, but we just talked about it earlier this week and on some of this other stuff over on the Game Junction, just because it was kind of like a quasi back and forth. Hi Puffy Amiyumi had just had its 20-year anniversary. I know that's like an American cartoon, but it's based off of 2 Japanese artists from Japan. We talked about like
the email I sent you earlier.
I don't think I did.
Oh, I texted it to you because we were just talking about it last night. And I'm like, oh, that's odd that pops up.
Oh no, yeah, you did. I thought it was funny.
I'm like, what? Kissy.
Oh yeah, we were. Like, yeah, I do remember that now. Yeah, but I mean, for a lot of people, this probably knowingly or unknowingly probably was the same time with Toonami. You're like your first real introduction to J-pop as a genre. Or maybe just listening to foreign music as a whole, because it unknowingly was my introduction to it. I loved it so much. I have the album to this show, which also has the theme song to the Teen Titans that they all these 2 girls did as well, which is why that show has such a banger of an opening.
It really does.
Before they decided to do the butcher it with the whole chibi style, which I didn't like. Yeah.
It was a little weird. Reminds me of They did like Teen Titans. Teen Titans Go.
Teen Titans Go.
By the way,
Dun, dun.
oh no, I didn't send it to you. It was $12 for the complete series on Amazon today of Teen Titans.
Oh, that's a
That's a good
no-brainer.
deal. Yeah, I had to grab it. Like it's a Cartoon Network show. I have to get it.
Yeah. I know this also kind of just dropped, and I drove in because we just kind of watched it. Chainsaw Man is essentially officially been renewed for a second season, according to legal documents filed by Shueisha. I don't butchering all these Japanese names, but essentially, I'm surprised it took this long to get a second season.
Yeah,
100%. When that
sure.
comes out, I'm gonna be on top of it and watching it.
We were going to get any new Madoka Magica.
I thought we just talked about like there's a movie coming.
There is. Yeah, you're right. I was just looking it up. Yeah, Madoka Magica Wall Ergonauts Rising. I gotta watch that, man. I love that series.
Yeah, and then I guess some of the other stuff real quick, because like every Saturday we get like rankings for the previous week for Japanese anime and games. No surprise, the Switch and the PS5 version of Dragon Quest III was just killing it. Like it had like 850,000 copies sold.
Crazy.
Do you
Physical copies?
I mean, but still look at the list. It's crazy. Like the Switch just dominates it. Like if you for last week from the 11th to the 17th, what's the third best-selling game for that week? And it's a Switch game.
What is it?
The third best-selling Switch game. Yeah. What do you think it is?
Mario Kart.
I mean, it's number 7 with like 5,600 copies.
Is it Mario Luigi? Because that's pretty new. So.
Brothership's number 4. This with 15. This one just doubled it.
Tears of the Kingdom.
No.
I don't
Technically,
know.
Tears is it even on this list? I don't think it is. No, it's not on this list. We played this game like 2 or 3 times on stream.
Oh, Mario Party.
Yeah, the Jamboree. I was like, how's that number 3?
That one just came out too. I mean, well, it didn't just come out, but it's
came out October. Yeah,
still new.
I sometimes think it's funny because like Animal Crossing, the 6th best-selling game of that week. Though to be fair, it's only like 5,700 copies.
2020. 5,700 copies. I mean, it's still a lot for Japan. Yeah. Japan's not that big.
No, it's not. But I this surprisingly and not surprisingly, the Switch dominates it. But what I thought was even more was some of the anime rankings for the last week. Like first place, far and away, not even close for the average household rating at 8.3, was Saze-san. Which I didn't know anything about this, but this anime's been running since '69. It's got like 2,700 episodes. It looks like a family friendly child or kids focused like cartoon anime.
Is it Shin-chan?
No, I mean Shin-chan, Crayon Shin-chan's on this list. It had a 3.0.
Yeah, it's new. I think that one is, unless it's just the name of the long running series.
Yeah, but I mean number 1 was an 8.3. 2 and 3, which is Chibi, Madoka-chan, and then Detective Conan at like a 6.2, a 5.8, and then you're down to the 3s and 2s for most everything else. You have like Doraemon, then it's Shin-chan, One Piece, Daima, Wonderful, Precure, and some other stuff. Obviously, most of these are more geared towards a younger audience, and they're actually at like proper time slots. Like most of these are either Saturday/Sunday morning around like 8 to 9 a.m., or it's Saturday/Sunday afternoon, kind of around like 5, 6, 7 p.m. So it's in that targeted demographic where it's going to have, the most views. What I thought was funny though was Daima. Did you know that was on an 11:40 p.m. time slot in Japan?
Whoa!
And it's still one of the top 10, airing shows at that late at night on a Friday night.
Crazy. That's late.
Yeah, it's the only one that's not like a prime time slot. But I was like, how's Daima airing at 11:40 p.m. on a Friday night?
I think it'd be like an 8 o'clock time slot. It's Dragon Ball.
Yeah, I didn't even think it was that bad, but apparently that's where it's slotted at.
That's weird. That's really weird.
I don't like. I was kind of sitting here. I was like, I don't know why we don't watch this more often. Obviously, these ratings are kind of estimates, kind of like Nielsen ratings. It's not like a perfect science, but it's a rough estimate of what's going on.
Right.
But I mean, I still think it's interesting. I don't know how many people in Japan still watch it, but I thought it was kind of funny to talk about, especially when I looked at this list. I was like, wow, and I'm not surprised of what's on this, top airing anime.
It's kind of wild. I'm same. I'm not surprised necessarily.
Yeah, and I guess the last thing to talk about, because we want to talk a little bit more about the game-related stuff, I wanted to talk about Dragon Quest 3, the HD 2D remake. The
You keep
one,
saying that.
the one night I had to play it because I was in a hotel, I forgot the game, so I didn't have the game on my Switch. So I didn't get the chance to, but we had a DLC for Stellar Blade, the Nier Automata Stellar Blade DLC just come out, and I am going to be streaming this like a week after the fact, but I'm 100% going to be streaming this on Wednesday. And that's going to be, yeah, it'll be the 27th of November. It's like the day before Thanksgiving. Like
When does this come out?
It came out on the 20th.
No. When does this podcast come out?
This podcast it'll come out on the 24th on Sunday. So it'll be like if you're watching it like immediately when this comes out, it'll still be relevant.
My birthday.
What's that?
24th is my birthday.
Oh, that's right, you did say. So I guess. Oh man, you should have told me before. Yeah, like, hey, happy birthday when this airs.
It's all good. It's all good.
Kind of as a little promo to watch it, but I was like, I played and beat Stellar Blade's the only game that came out this year that I played that absolutely grabbed me, and I absolutely fell in love with the game. Like, to be fair, yeah, you come for the hot girl, you stay because I really enjoyed the game.
Game's fun.
Like,
very fun.
Like, just my personal favorite. This is my personal favorite game that I played all year. Critically, I think there's other games, better games that I played this year, but none of them really grabbed me like this game did. And it's rare because there were two other games that came to my mind like this that grabbed me that I played here in recent years. It was both Tales of Arise and Nier Automata. Yeah, like it's really rare that a game grabs me. Year? What's that?
You played those both this year?
No, not this year, but those were two other games that immediately grabbed me. I was like, I have to play and beat this game. Very few, like I've played games before that I love and stuff like that. Like
I own Nier 3 times over.
So yeah, like Black Myth Wukong I really liked. There's some other games that come in that I can't blank on. Yeah, that you probably that you like, but they don't grab you. Because I think the first game that I remember that absolutely grabbed me was probably Skyrim. It's a really rare you get a game for me that it's just like I fall in love with immediately and I just want to play the crap out of it.
You played that this year?
No, that's not this year. Just in general. Yeah. Sorry.
I'm confused. No, you're good. Yeah, there's a few things that grabbed me this year, but that was one. Stellar Blade definitely grabbed me for sure.
Xenoblade, kind of. I enjoy it. I would say it's kind of like it kind of half grabbed me to some degree. Enough to be like, yeah, I really like what I'm playing on this game, but not like some other games have.
Sure.
But I mean,
it's a long game.
To be fair, like a lot of these games,
hour game easy.
Yeah, most of them tend to be Japanese or anime adjacent games. With Stellar Blade, it's a Korean game, obviously, but you have Nier, and then you got Tales of Arise and stuff like that. It's like these really deep narrative games for the most part.
I mean, you think about JRPGs this year, holy crap. I mean, you got the Ease game, you got Dragon Quest, there's so much that came out JRPG. You got the new Mana game. We haven't got a Mana game for
no, it's not the Mana game. The game that just came out a few weeks ago.
Ease?
No, the big one. The big JRPG that just dropped. I'm like, I gotta pull up my Steam.
Why am I an idiot? Hold on, I have to look.
Yeah, I'd have to pull up my Steam because I can't remember exactly what it's called now. Where are you? Metaphor.
I grabbed so many games here recently that.
No, it's Metaphor Refantasio.
Oh, yeah,
I don't know why I couldn't think of that game.
Collector's edition up there. I'm an idiot. Yeah,
like Metaphor. This game just came out.
That was the big one. Yeah, that's a really big Atlas drop. There's a lot of JRPGs this year. Crazy amount.
The only problem is they take forever to play and beat.
They always take forever. I haven't finished any of them yet. I haven't even started Ease yet. Just because I know I gotta finish Metaphor. Yeah. I know I'm playing Stellar Blade. I'm playing Final Fantasy Rebirth. I'm playing which came out a while ago this year, and I'm still playing it.
Yeah, right. I'm saying like, oh man, this like I'm not a kid anymore. I don't have like just hours upon hours of free time to like just play games. But
unfortunately,
yeah. This podcast definitely went on a little longer. I know we have to hop off, get ready for a stream here in a few minutes. But definitely appreciate everyone's support. Obviously, kind of like always, give us a sub. Let us know what you think down below in the comment section, or at the very least, if you're watching this on YouTube, down below. if you're listening to us on podcasts, give us a comment, give us a rate. We definitely appreciate it. And anyway, kind of let us know what you think, what you'd want to hear more of, because we're having a really good time. 11 episodes in, we're only 100 episodes behind where the Game Junction podcast is at,
which is interesting. That's
we're right about, because this is
we're 111 next week, so
so like a week and a half or a week and 5 days behind or something like that. I thought it was funny.
It is funny, yeah, and it was completely on accident.
Yeah, no, but yeah, appreciate everybody's support, and then I guess we'll see y'all next week for episode 12.
Later, guys.
Peace out, everybody.